Okay, now we've got some expanded word problems, longer sentences, but again, we're looking for a percentage or something related to a percent. We're looking for the part or the whole or the percent from these different questions. So as we look over the questions, we will look for the numbers that are of importance to us, and we know we're always getting one fraction equivalent to another fraction with 100 in the denominator. So let's take a quick look at number 16. So again, we're going to take the numbers that it gives us. So before reading it, just pick out the numbers, 170, 550, and then the decimal. The last sentence says what percent? What percent? That's the question. So what I always look for is what's the question first, so I know what I'm trying to answer. We know we're looking for the percent. We know we have the 100 underneath the percent, and then we've got a ratio over a fraction over on this side. And we've got the is over the of, the part over the whole. So now we've got two numbers. We just have to figure out which one goes on top. So does it make sense that now we kind of read this sentence? She paid $170 for an item that was originally priced $550. The original price, does that make sense that that would be the whole? We're paying a portion of that, or Valerie is anyway. 550, 170 there. And then we just follow through on our method. We cross multiply. So it's 100 times 170 dividing by the odd one out. That's going to give us the percent right there. So 100 times 170 divided by 550. 17,000 divided by 550. They ask us to round it to the nearest tenth. So we look in our calculator, we get 30, and we'll round that to 9.9. And that's a percentage because that's what we were looking for. That was the missing piece. 30.9% is always on top. Okay. 17, we'll just proceed on this. And again, each time, if you want, even before even looking at the question, I guess we know we're in percent, so they're always going to be some kind of a ratio, proportion of two fractions. One has 100 in the bottom. And then we've got these three. The percent will be up in the top. So 17, I see two numbers, 8132 and 7687. I see no percentage. In fact, as you look, it says find the percent. So scanning over it, find the percent. That's what we want. And we're given two numbers. So now, Trader Joe's, they sold 8,132 bags. That was their total sales. So that portion, the 8132, is the whole. We don't have the words is and of in here. But what's the part? Well, some of those bags were fat-free. How many? 7,687. A lot of fat-free bags. Exactly how many percent? Well, cross multiply, divide, and we'll have our answer. So we'll go ahead and go with 100 times 7687 divided by 8132. We get 768700 divided by 8132, and we plug that in the calculator. We get 94.5, but they want it rounded to the nearest percent, so we're going to put that as 95%. 95% is our answer. Okay. Fat-free. 18. Yeah, we look at it and quickly we can spot we've got 76%. That's one of our values. That's kind of nice. We know exactly where that's going to go. And then we see the number 50 questions. And then we look for the question, how many of the questions were correct? Okay, so as we set it up, we've got our fractions, we've got our 100. They gave us the percent, so we know that's going to go over the 100. Now, there were 50 questions on this test. 50 was a total number of questions. It's the whole. And the question is, what part did we get correct, right? What part are correct? So not always the is and of to help us out, but sometimes there is. Now these ones, we've got a different one, but we go crosswise to multiply, and then we're going to divide by 100. So we'll take our 76 times 50 and then divide by 100. 76 times 50 divided by 100 gives us total, well, this one gives us 3,800. We divide by 100, that gives us 38%. Not percent. I mix it. That's 38 questions. Sorry. We already know the percent. The percent 76. So slow down. It'll grow. 38. 38 questions are right out of 50. Sometimes it helps to read the question, but we like to get through done quickly. But you got to read the question. So 19. Let's take a look. Again, we look for the two numbers that it's going to give us. I see the number $35 and a 15% tip. So I can kind of start setting things up before I read too much. I know they gave me a percentage and they gave me another number. But before I go too far, how much is the tip? So we want the tip, and that bill is $35. So is the tip the whole or is it the part? Well, the bill totaled $35. We're going to give of that 15%. So a portion of this, it's the part we're looking for. Okay. And 15% goes over the 100. So again, we do our cross multiplying, divide. So that's 15 times 35 divided by 100. 15 times 35 divided by 100. We do it all together and we get 5.25. And that's dollars, it's not percent. Okay, I got it that time. $5.25. That's the tip we should leave, or we've chosen to leave. Round it to the nearest cent. 20. What is the sales tax on a suit priced at $295 if the sales tax is 7%? So we're looking for the sales tax. So again, we've got a percentage, 7. So that's going to give us 100. 7% up here. And then over here, $295, that's the total value of the suit we're buying. Sales tax will be a portion of that. So $295 goes here. The sales tax is what will be up there. 7 times $295 divided by 100. 7 times $295 divided by 100. And when we do that, we get a total of $20.65. $20.65. I'm going to skip over 21. Let's just take a look at 22, sort of a final to this particular video, and then we'll move on to the questions after that. So I look over this quickly. I see a percentage, 16%. I see 39,000 cash, and then I look for a question. The question word here is determine, or the action word, determine something. Determine the maximum home value that you can finance. Okay. So what do I have? I've got 100%, or 100. A lender requires a minimum down payment of 16%. We'll look at these kind of questions in more detail as we get into, I think it's chapter 6. 16% of the value of the home, 16%. And it's sort of the value of the home. So the value of the home is the of part, it's the whole part. We've got $39,000 cash available to use as that down payment. So the down payment is a part of the price of the house. So what we're looking for is the total value that we're able to afford if we have $39,000 to put as a down payment. So in this case, cross multiply 100 times 39,000, then divide by the 16. So 100 times 39,000 divided by 16. And when we do that, we get 243,750. So we'll see later you'll also need money for closing costs and such, but sometimes there's ways to negotiate the seller to pay that. Sometimes there's ways to get a third party to pay that. But this tells us with $39,000 for a down payment, we can buy a house for $243,750, and we have our 16% down payment.